What's going on, everybody? It is Matt and Mike Devine Sports Gospel here. You are watching on a Monday night. If you're watching live, if you're watching not live, I don't know, man. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. It is the DSG episode 72. We got a lot to talk about, man. The boys haven't had like a solo ep where we weren't at the bar or we didn't interview someone in a long time. And we're back in the game. Took a little hiatus. We had some, let's be honest, there wasn't not a lot has happened in the last,
the DSG needs a little off-season break too, baby.
All exactly. Right. So DSG had a nice little off-season, little siestas, but we're back, baby. We're back and we're hungry. Mike Devine, how we living?
Living good, man. Excited to be here. Excited to talk about the San Diego Padres, talk a little New York Mets. Feel like we might have a couple New York Mets fans trickling in at some point today. We've seemed to stir up a bit of a reaction from that certain fan base, but excited to talk and focus on the Padres. So yeah, man, I mean, little pre-holiday post-winter meetings episode.
Yeah. Hey, let us know if you're watching. I know Cries Easily said he's watching from Marietta, home of Tyler Wade. Let us know where you're watching from, man. Hey, like the stream up. Hit us with a subscribe. The vibes are high, baby. The vibes are high. Like my guy Bolt Chargers said, also congrats to the Bolts. That was a big win yesterday. All our Chargers fans out there, congratulations. There is no offseason as a Padres fan. What a great way to lead us into this conversation, because you're 100% right, Bolt Chargers. What a fun team to root for, man. You never fucking know what's going to happen. AJ Preller. I know people that saw AJ Preller out of the bars on Saturday night, and he was buying shots, asking people, should I trade Mason Miller? No lie, I got that text. I swear to God.
He didn't ask, should I trade Mason Miller?
So the rumor is he was asking people. Obviously, it was facetious, but
dude, that would be so fun.
Right in Massachusetts,
GM and just
Oceanside, Georgetown, Texas.
What's up, GM, and troll people like that and be like, should I trade this guy? Yo,
dude, it's great. I think what people need to realize about AJ Preller is you just gotta accept it. The dude's a wild boy. There's a lot of these teams with boring ass GMs. Like, imagine being the Cincinnati Reds. Every offseason, you're like, well, hopefully we get, like, if I'm thinking, who's a huge guy the Cincinnati Reds would sign? Like, who's the biggest free agent? Like a Ha-Seong Kim. I know he just signed with the Braves. That's like the highest level of free agent that the Reds will sign, and their trades are never creative. At least with Preller, tomorrow morning we could wake up and there could be a blockbuster trade. We could have an entirely new team by tomorrow morning. And that's what's electric, bro. Has it proven to be successful in winning World Series? Absolutely not. There's no denying that. Is it entertaining?
Yeah.
Yes. And I think Cries Easily, who's crushing it on this stream, he's a wild gun, baby. Hey, me personally, I watch the Padres. I follow the Padres for entertainment. Has AJ Preller made this team entertaining? Fuck yeah, he has. Pardon my language. I'm working on the cursing in 2026. It's on my to-do list. 57 people in the YouTube chat on a Monday night. Monday Night Football's on. You're in the chat. Why is that? AJ Preller. AJ Preller helped put this team together. Peter Seidler. Guys, we're going to talk about ownership today. We're going to talk about that possible Mets deal. We're going to talk about some free agent signings. The vibes are high. Thank you for tuning in. Mike Devine, December 15th. How are you feeling right now as a San Diego Padres fan going into 2026?
I feel good, man. listen, there's not a lot to feel bad about right now. All right. Dylan Cease, we stirred up a bit of a controversy with Blue Jays fans when we talked about Dylan Cease. Listen, Blue Jays fans, we hope Dylan Cease is better for you than he was for us.
Yeah.
By all metrics, last season, he was insanely disappointing, right? That's fine. Dylan Cease, he got his bag. Good for him. Generational family wealth. Hope he does well for the Blue Jays. Bygones be bygones. We're moving on past Dylan Cease. The rotation's a little seedy this year. A little seedy. And I posed the in our half trolling, half serious tweets over the past week and a half about the Mets.
A lot of trolling.
I think I do think the Padres, it's funny to say our rotation's a little thin and then say on the flip side that we should trade Nick Pivetta. And I love Blicky P. I love Blicky P. But if you really think about it, right, starting pitching right now is insanely expensive. Dylan Cease got 7 years, $210 million after a down season, right? So starting pitching is insanely expensive. It's setting the market for Nick Pivetta to opt out next year, regardless of this year, right? He's making $16 million this year. You want to shed payroll, quote unquote. He's a guy you trade. You get depth starters, right? Why not trade him to the Mets and try to get a Jonah Tong and somebody else, right? Package him, package Jerry Estrada or somebody else and see what happens. I think that's a good trade package. I don't think, and I tweeted this earlier, the only way the Padres, the only way they keep Nick Pivetta this season before the season starts is if they think they have a legitimate shot at winning the World Series. And right now, Matt, they don't.
They don't.
So why are you going to put all your eggs in this basket? You have Merrill locked down. You have Tatis locked down. The one depth issue this team has, right? You have corners of the diamond locked down on the offense. You don't have pitching, and you don't have long-term pitching. Joe Musgrove's under contract. Yu Darvish is cooked. Only Randy V is under contract.
Demon.
Go try and trade Nick Pivetta and snag a couple young, controllable starters and see what you have. Because, listen, we did in the Soto trade, you traded for Randy Vasquez and Johnny Brito. I'm not writing off Johnny Brito yet.
And Michael King.
Randy Vasquez coming into the season as a rotation piece. If you get two pitchers for Nick Pivetta, odds are one of those guys has a good shot of being a long-term rotation piece. So you got to start trying to stack up these pitchers, right? You trade Nick Pivetta, you get some depth, you see what you have next year. And here's the thing. This team won 90 games with pretty subpar. I think we were 22nd in WAR overall in starting pitching last year.
We were not good.
Think about it. We won 90 games with subpar starting pitching, a great bullpen. We also had a relatively iffy Jackson Merrill year and a okay, like war-wise, good Tatis season, but offensively, there's still some to be desired. Manny Machado didn't hit 30. This team, if those three play up to par, and you get a couple solid 1 to 2 WAR pitchers in the rotation, and you just have solid starting pitching, doesn't have to be great. You don't have to have a fucking Jacob deGrom 2015 or whatever. You don't have to have that. You just have to have serviceable starting pitching. JP Sears is probably a nice guy. I don't think that's not a winning guy right now. You have to get a couple guys to fill up the rotation. If you trade Pivetta and you get some young, controllable starting pitching, why not take some of that money that you gave up or you saved on Nick Pivetta and just say, fuck it. Justin Verlander, come on down, baby. Just come on down. Just come on down.
Unction.
That's what I'm saying, though.
I agree, man. I think right now, also shout out everybody in the chat on YouTube right now. You guys are legends. We got 84 people. I loved your point on kind of where the Padres are at, because I really think it's as simple as this. When people say the Padres aren't spending any money, we're top 15 in payroll or top 10 in payroll, and we have no TV deal. We are spending money. Are we spending money on some of the wrong guys, a la Yu Darvish right now? Yu Darvish is a legend. He's had a fantastic MLB career. Not the most encouraging to hear a guy, have a comment saying, yeah, man, if I get past this injury, hopefully I want to pitch again. Motherfucker, you're under contract for 3 more years, and you're making $20 million a year. That is terrible news. Like, what are you doing? We'll talk more about that later, but, like, what a weird comment. Buddy, at least make it seem like you're coming back.
Now,
like, bro,
we'll talk about it now. Why talk about it later? We'll talk about it now. Now, listen, Yu Darvish says that. I think Yu Darvish is essentially alluding to the fact that at next year, if he doesn't feel like he wants to pitch, he's retiring, right? He's getting paid this year. He's not going to eat next year's cost or the following year's cost, whatever. I think there's 3 years left on his deal or something crazy.
Yeah, it's bad.
Not eating all that money. He's not that. And I hope he's not that. He doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. He's made a lot of money in his career. He doesn't strike me as a guy who's going to, for lack of better terms, suck the Padres dry for the money that he's making when he's not playing. So we can cross our fingers. But with that said, we've talked about this over text. What's the one thing we haven't had as a Padres fan? We've had Tatis come up and Merrill come up. We've had stars come up hitting wise, but what have we not had, Matt?
Since Jake Peavy, homegrown pitching. We had Mackenzie Gore come up. Obviously, his name's being thrown around a lot right now as a potential trade piece for the Nationals, but he was our top dog. Ryan Weathers was another top dog, who both are going to possibly get traded this offseason. But we haven't had a guy come up through our farm like Jackson Merrill, Tatis, from the pitching side, to be completely honest. We've had some relievers, but we haven't had any superstars. And I would really like to see kind of the reason why for that. And then I want to talk a little bit about where I could see Preller going. The reason for that, Mike, is because Preller's philosophy is he drafts high school talent with huge upside, waits for a year or two for them to play well in Lake Elsinore, ditches them at the trade deadline, and gets in guys that can help us compete. That's kind of his whole vibe. That's if the Cruz Schoolcraft pick, the Cash Mayfield pick, Boston Bateman. Like, you could see where he's going, right? There's a reason why we haven't drafted any college, Trey Savage type cats, which in my opinion, I think I wouldn't mind some of those guys. But where I see the Padres going now is, you got to find a way to get some controllable assets of pitching, man. Like, especially starting pitching. Because the Kyle Harts, the Randy V's, I love Randy V. We can't rely on Randy V to probably have the same season he had last year. Let's be blunt. And if he does, and I shut up, I'm not saying Randy's going to be bad.
We got to start calling him. We got to call him the anomaly if he does it again.
Okay. Randy V had a really good 2025 and one of my favorite pitchers to watch. He got out of jams. He was a little lucky, but he was solid. To repeat that next year, underlying metrics show probably not going to happen. So right now our rotation is Nick Pivetta, who might be on the trade block, Joe Musgrove coming off of Tommy John surgery, Randy V, who I just mentioned, might not be as good as he was last year, JP Sears, Kyle Hart. Let's be honest, that's fucking terrible. Like, that's really bad. Like, really, really, really bad. I would put it in bottom 5 rotations in baseball. And I'm a Padres Glazer. That's fucking bad. Is it because Yu Darvish got hurt? There's a lot of reasons. Ruben Niebla is the biggest asset we have as a Padre, as Padres fans. He makes shit happen with people that work. We still have a great bullpen. But you're going to have to use your bullpen, and you're going to have to use some prospects and the Nick Pivetta types. So I hate to say it, the Ramon Laureano types to get us some pitching. We have to get pitching. If this team has any shot, because right now I'll tell you what I think of the Padres. If we don't make any moves, and this is our opening day rotation, and this is our team going into the season, 80-win team. The rotation's trash, dude. It's so bad, Mike. And that's saying no injuries. When was the last time we had an injury-free season? Are we acting like Joe Musgrove is going to come back and have a 2.9 ERA? Let's be real, guys.
But my question for you, Matt, is when you think about last year's team, what was the rotation? Michael King barely pitched. Yu Darvish barely pitched.
Pivetta was incredible.
Joe Musgrove was out.
Randy V had an insane season, and Pivetta was incredible. Those were our two guys.
I understand. Now Joe Musgrove's back. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
we can make it work. We need. Hey, I'll be honest. I think what's going to happen is I think Preller's going to trade a lot of guys very soon. I think within the next 2 weeks. And I'm not saying this like, let's be blunt. We troll a lot on Twitter. We get bored at work and we troll on Twitter a shit ton, to be completely honest. The Lindor news, 99% troll. I did have one guy text me that supposedly AJ Preller asked David Stearns and he didn't say no, but we troll a lot. There are real trades to be made with a team like the Mets who have 8 top 10 prospects. They have guys in their farm right now that are ready to be MLB rotation pieces. We need guys like that. So, for example, like the Ryan Burgett and Kolek, I love Freddie Fermin, the Ferminator. That was a bad trade. Like, those two dudes pitched some big innings for us last year. And then they went to the Royals and were pretty fucking good. I know Burgett's hurt, but Kolek had some really good starts for the Royals. If we had those two dudes as our 4-5 right now in our rotation, feeling way better about the season. That was a bad trade. Sometimes they make bad trades. I still think Freddie Fermin is a fun catcher, and he's a fun guy to root for. But that was a bad trade.
2-war.
We need to find ways to get pitchers. Well, there's two things. In chat, let me know what you guys believe. Because right now, Papa John Seidler is selling the team, and it doesn't seem like we're going to be signing a lot of guys. And if we do sign guys, it's not going to be the sexiest names. There's no Framber Valdez coming through. There's no Ranger Suarez. Did Ranger Suarez already sign? Am I tripping?
He is not signed.
Okay, so there's no Ranger Suarez. I'll be honest. I give Mike King coming back to the Padres 5%. I don't think that shit's going to happen.
No shot.
He's gone. So the big names are leaving the market, and we don't get anyone right now. And someone says, Tightline says, you thinking rebuild. I'm thinking retool. You can't rebuild a team with 4 statue contracts, as in Xander Bogaerts, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, and Manny Machado. Those are 4 spots that for the next decade, if we don't trade them, are legitimately on our team forever. So, or not forever, but for a long ass time.
Yeah.
You can't rebuild with that. You have to retool because your rotation is fucking dog shit right now. It's really bad. And like I said, I'm starting. That's 2 curse words. If I do 5, I'll Venmo one person in the chat $5. That's going to be my thing. Really trying to stop the cursing. But Mike, what do we do? Because that rotation's ass.
So when you really think about it, right? I feel like I get it, right? It's hard to say trade Pivetta because our rotation's ass. But again, I just think you can trade Pivetta, who's for us an ace, for other teams probably a 2-3 starter, maybe like good teams that are maybe a 2 starter.
Yeah.
If there's a good pitcher in the farm, right, a la Jonathan, you take a risk. I don't know if I trust Jonathan. He got raked in the bigs. I get that he struck out a lot of minor leaguers. I get he's young. I think you got to look at a handful of guys to trade. Now, offensively, I would say the probably number 1 guy that I think would make sense to trade would be Cron.
Yeah.
I think when you look at some of these contracts like Jorge Polanco getting 2 years, $40 million, Cron's got a pretty reasonable contract for a consistent 2 to 3 WAR guy. I think you trade Pivetta and try to get some young pitching. And dude, I'm just saying, I think like this season, right? Nothing's guaranteed with this team. They might just have to fucking roll the dice, man. Just trade some guys and roll the dice. Stay with your core 4. Trade your guys that are, maybe on expiring deals. You have guys like Ramon that if you're in the spot at the deadline where it's not the most promising season, you have some guys you can trade. You could trade a Jason Adam. You could trade I would never want to trade Adrian Morejon because that's my guy. So I'm not even.
He is a Boris client, and he will be a free agent next year.
I know. So there's guys you can trade on this team, and you can get pieces back because guess what? Our farm's not good. We have some guys.
Hot take about the farm. I think the Padres farm is actually undervalued because it's so. We do not have guys that are going to help this year on our farm system, but we do have guys in our farm that I bet you in 10 years will look back and be like, damn, the Padres farm was low-key stacked back then.
I understand that. But my point is like, why not try and add to that, right? Try and add to the farm system. I think that's actually extremely valid.
Adam, this is a great. I just want to comment. So if you're listening on audio, Adam commented on Twitter. At the end of the day, none of this matters because Preller will just do what he wants. That kind of makes me want to end the show because then now the more I think about it, I'm like, damn, bro, that low key's facts. Like we just talk about this stuff. We have no control.
Yeah.
Meta.
I mean, like who's available as a free agent right now that you think?
So these are a couple guys I was thinking. Tyler Mahle. Tyler Mahle seems like a classic 31-year-old dude, free agent. Morejon dropped Boris. Okay, well then extend him ASAP. That should be what we need to do. I'm gonna share my screen right now. We're about to get Mahle not horrible. Mahle's good, guys. Ruben Niebla makes all of these pitchers that you're like, damn, like I remember that guy when he was on the Rangers or something. And like, then he's going to come to the Pods and have like a 4-WAR season. 6-4 with a 218, 1.13 whip, 31 years old from Newport. Yeah, like what are we, career 4 ERA? This is a classic Padres target. Give me Tyler Mahle. Now you look at our rotation. If you keep Pivetta, Musgrove, Mahle, then you go 4 Randy Vasquez, 5, and now it's starting to look like a real MLB rotation. We need to sign. Guys, if they try to act poor, hey, I get it. We have some big contracts. Totally get it. But hey, group, Big John and, all those other guys, you got to spend a little money because I just got charged for our season tickets. The season tickets are going up. And if my rotation right now for my team that we have 130 people on a chat in December watching a live stream about this team, and we're really going to run out that rotation, disgusting. I do believe they're going to do it though. I actually think about it. This time last year, we didn't have Nick Pivetta until spring training. It's December. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of time. But a guy like a Tyler Mahle is the type of dude you get and you put in the middle of the rotation. And it's a, rubber match against the Giants in August. And Tyler Mahle's on the bump. And he goes 6 with 1 earned. That's the type of shit. Like, guys, they don't have to be the sexiest signings. What was Michael King? What was Michael King 2 years ago when he got traded to us?
Reliever.
Guys, Niebla makes shit happen. That's why also, hot take, maybe not even a hot take. I trust Preller trading MLB talent for undervalued MLB or high-level minor league players. Because Randy Vasquez right now is a valuable pitcher. If he gives me another 150 innings, that would be just for Randy Vasquez, that's extremely valuable. Then you add in the Michael King, you're like, hey, I trust AJ. What I really think we need to do is I think we need to extend AJ within the next month. Yeah. And just lock that in. What do you think though is going to happen? Like, who do you think we're going to sign? Do you think we're going to get?
I saw a good name in the mix there too. Former Pod, free agent. If you listen to this, last 3 seasons, 110 innings pitched, 142 innings pitched, 165 innings pitched.
Slick Nick
Martinez, baby. Why not? I don't know what he's going to command in terms of free agency. He's 35 years old, has experience working with Ruben, played for the Pods. People like him, eats innings.
I would love Nick Martinez.
Why you go and say, hey, we're gonna just bolster it with Tyler Mahle and Nick Martinez. We're gonna roll the dice. I think it makes sense to say, hey, we're gonna trade Jake Cronenworth. You have to free up a little bit of cash. I think Cron's value is probably maybe at its last peak before maybe going down a little bit. So he has some value still. There's teams out there that need somebody. And then what I'd say, Matt, honestly, is if I saw Shane Baz for the Rays as somebody that the Rays might be looking to trade. I see Yandy Diaz as somebody the Rays are looking to trade. Man, that's one where you say, I'm going to package up some prospects. I'm going to trade these guys to the Tampa Bay Rays, and we're going to put Yandy Diaz at first base. We're going to put Shane Baz in the rotation. And then you're looking at the rotation, and you're like, wait a minute. We have Nick Pivetta, Joe Musgrove, Shane Baz, Tyler Mahle, Nick Martinez, and Randy Vasquez. That's deep. That's a deep rotation. And all it takes is that, right? It just quickly flips. Now, do I think that we have the prospect capital to maybe go in and get both Shane Baz and Yandy Diaz? I don't know. That's up for debate. But I think that there's ways to – I don't think that you only can get a starting pitcher right now through trade.
So there's a quite EB and Mike, I appreciate what you're saying. I agree. EB says, don't think any other team will take Cronenworth's contract without Padres eating some money in the return. EB, I kind of disagree. The only reason is because if you look at who Jake Cronenworth's been, he's a consistent, 3-WAR guy, and he's under that contract. Obviously, the years are tough, but Ha-Seong Kim, who I don't think is as good of a player as Jake Cronenworth. Who would you rather have, Ha-Seong Kim or Jake Cronenworth, Mike?
Jake Cronenworth.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
I think he's a more valuable player. So you get Crone for 5 years. At how much is he making? 12 a year?
He's signed through 2030, 7 years, 80 mil.
So how much is left? So seven.
It's about 11.5 mil a year, I think.
I don't think that's a bad contract. He plays every day. He plays every day. He plays great defense. A team like the New York Yankees could use Jake Cronenworth. Jake Cronenworth,
15 career Cronenworth.
If Trent Grisham could hit 30 plus home runs in New York, I bet you Jake could hit 25 plus.
But who do you want from the Yanks? You think they'd trade Will Warren? You think they'd trade Will Warren for Jake Cronenworth?
Jake Meme Junior Ruiz said he has like a 400 on base percentage. I think Jake Cronenworth is undervalued. I also think we trade him, and I bet you we'll look back and be like, damn, I kind of miss Crone getting on base like that, dude.
Bro, Jake Cronenworth has been one of the better.
There's no way they trade Schiller.
For the last 6 years, dude. 1.6 WAR, 5 WAR, 4 WAR, 1 WAR, 2 WAR, 2.5 WAR. That's a solid baseball player, man. Now, I think the only argument for trading Crone is if you're looking at the team, you're not going to trade Toddy. You're not going to trade Merrill. You can't trade Machado. No one's going to take it, and I don't think you should. No one's going to take Bogarts. Ramon Laureano's on an expiring contract. Jake Cronenworth isn't on an outrageous contract that a team would be like, absolutely not. There's only a few guys in this offense. And listen, Gavin Sheets is our dog. I will kill AJ Preller if he trades Sheetsy. There's only a few guys on this team that have like legit tradable value right now. And I think Jake Cronenworth is probably offensively number one. I think you have a lot of relievers that have some trade value. I think Jerry Estrada's got crazy value. I think
Morihone, Adam.
Morihone could net you a lot. I just think if you trade Morihone, you're putting yourself at a real risk this season. And I think Adrian Morihone is a perfect extension candidate before the season. 100%. And I hope that's something that the team looks at because he's homegrown. He's been a fantastic Padre. He's a fan favorite. He's a DSG follower. I'm just saying everything points to Adrian Morihone staying with the Padres. I think Jason Adam, if you're looking at the relievers, is the guy that you can say, okay, we feel decent about trading Jason Adam. I don't know if Adam's going to re-sign.
I think you could get a lot, man. I think you can get a lot for that Pivetta-Estrada duo. I think you could get a lot. And I know a lot of people be like, why are you saying why would you trade our seventh inning guy and our ace of our staff? And the reason is this, guys. We as fans look at 2026, right? Like that's the season. But how baseball works, these contracts are really long. And do you want the Padres to be a team that's competitive in 5 years? Or do you want to just, we're going to keep Pivetta, get nothing for him, lose to the Cubs in the wild card in 3 games, and then Pavetta's going to walk and get $120 million from the Rangers. That's what happens. Like we're witnessing it right now with Dylan Cease. We're witnessing it with Michael King. Like both those guys did not have great years. King slept on his shoulder wrong, which is, let's be honest, that's bullshit. We all know that something was up with that. That's a weird. You don't sleep on your shoulder wrong and miss 3 months. Like something was legitimately wrong with his stuff. I don't think he was milking it, but I think he was playing it pretty cautious. Dylan Cease, I've said enough about Dylan Cease, but they're gone. So those are 2 really good guys that are going to get a shit ton of money. Pitching is so valuable that Nick Pivetta is for sure opting out unless he gets hurt or has a 7 ERA, which hopefully for the Pod's sake does not happen. So if you could trade the Mets and get a dude, I know Jonah Tong, and we're going to show everybody a Jonah Tong right now. And I actually kind of agree with Rich's point. Pivetta had a great 2025. Do you think he's going to have the same this year? I don't.
I like Pivetta, man, but I do think that he is, if you look at historically, the odds of Nick Pivetta just instantly becoming and unlocking ace caliber talent is probably slim. That being said, Ruben's done it before. Maybe he just unlocked something in Nick Pivetta and he became what he's always been able to be. I think I'm curious, like, I know you can get a lot for Pivetta. I'm curious what moves.
If you ask a Met fan what makes them crazy, they'll tell you. Pitching.
This guy's the best, by the way.
Ooh, that pitch is so scandalous, and you know all the hitters can't handle it. The batter stays guessing like, what's the pitch? By the time it gets there, it's a swing and miss. They in a trance watching that ball drop, and he's already out once he connects the dots. He's got some swerve, and he's got the pop, and his stuff is just straight up loco. Fastball's dangerous stuff.
I mean, dude, we would run with this so hard.
What? Curve and change up. I think I'll sing it again. Fastball's dangerous stuff. Slider slides like what?
This guy's great.
What? All night long. Let me see that.
So this is actually where I want to get back to, guys. And I talked to Mies about this. We talked about it when we were in SD or over text recently. What we were missing in 2025, we won the team won 90 games. They made the playoffs. They won a playoff game. What were we missing, Mike? 3 letters. VAR. Dude, the team didn't have VAR, bro. Guys, we're the VAR guys. If you're watching this podcast, we'll talk some real baseball stuff, but we're not little nerdy Ken Rosenthal. We're not Fangraphs. We're not going to dive super deep into the, nitty-gritty. We're going to talk ball like fans. What I like from my San Diego Padres is when the team's swaggy as fuck. Okay, that's 3. So if I curse 2 more times, I'm paying someone in the chat $5. VAR is what we need. Jonah Tong looks like, Asian Tim Lincecum. That guy, how he pitches. VAR. Mark Vientos, swaggy V, playing first base. I've seen Mark Vientos hit some absolute nukes, bro. Nukes. Mark Vientos has VAR. Guys, we need VAR
So
right now.
What nets you Jonah Tong and Mark Vientos?
Jonah Tong, Mark Vientos, Pivetta and Jeremiah Estrada, right?
Do you think my only fear with the Jerry is I think he has a lot more value, and I don't want us to sell so low on him after the end of last season. He was a demon. He is a demon. I think he gassed out last year because they overused him, which happens. I don't know if the Dodgers just have him mentally cooked, like what Dylan Cease had with the Dodgers. Maybe it's just one of those off scenarios. But Jeremiah had 107 strikeouts this year. He's a demon, dude.
Is that true?
Definitely true.
Man. Yeah, I do think we low-key I think, honestly,
he's also under control till 2030. And you got to think about Estrada like this, right? You're essentially saying if you trade Jerry Estrada, we have full faith that Adrian Morejon is extending his contract with us.
That's a good point.
Because if Jerry Estrada gets traded, Morejon and Adam both walk and go get bags elsewhere, then your next year, your bullpen, your 7, 8, 9 is probably, Brasley Rodriguez, David Morgan, and Mason Miller, which is risky. It's a high-risk play. That Estrada's high leverage. You know that Morejon's high leverage. You know that Mason Miller can fucking dominate people. So you're putting a lot of – it's a little risky if you trade Jerry.
But right now, I guess we'll play counter argument, and this is actually a very good conversation because I do think Jeremiah's performance against the Dodgers makes us forget how he's absolutely unhittable against everybody else, right? Like he had a couple really bad performances kind of to end the season, kind of got in his head a little bit, and it happens. Yeah, off season, you come back, it happens. Our biggest assets currently as Padres fans is our relief pitching. The lack of what we have is our starting pitching. So the only way to acquire starting pitching is there's 2 ways. You either sign someone or you trade. And given what we see these contracts are getting, right? Michael King's probably going to get $110 million. That might end up being a really bad contract, but good for Michael King. Honestly, he was a great Padre. Weird kind of 2025, but he was an awesome Padre. I'll never forget that Braves series. But I'm excited to see how much money that guy gets. Because if I'm Nick Pivetta and I see Michael King get that much money after the season I just had, there's no fucking way I'm staying in San Diego. So if I'm AJ Preller, I understand that. So if I package him with one of Jason Adam, who, if you look at, I think whip, Jason Adam had the second lowest whip in baseball last year. He's insane. Like, the reason why the Padres were so good last year was because of our bullpen. That's it. We didn't really have a good starting rotation. And to be honest, our offense kind of sucked. So we made and won 90 games with that bullpen. Do you run it back and say, hey, now I'm actually starting to convince myself a little bit of, do you just run it back with these demon relievers that you have? The Bradsleys that are coming up, the Francis Peñas, Tucker Musgroves in the farm system, and everybody that understands like deep analytics says this guy might be our best reliever. We have insane arms, insane bullpen arms, a shitty rotation, in an offense that I think Merrill's going to have a better year. I think Tatis is going to have a better year. Xander, if he plays like he did at the end of the season, could have possibly been an all-star pretty much from June on. He played like an all-star. This team could be pretty good. But how do you get that if you're not going to spend money? I know I'm kind of running, but I'm curious. Like, how do you get a rotation that is top? We don't have to be top 10. Just give me a top 10 rotation.
You said it a little bit earlier about Michael King. What was Michael King?
A reliever.
He was a reliever. Why don't you say, hey, we think X, Y, and Z, one of these guys has the best possibility for progression into a starting pitcher. Mason Miller's not doing it. That arm is too valuable. He knows that that's his breadwinner. If he fucks up his arm,
and he's a demon, as like what we have him as is perfect.
I don't like, why not see if like a Jerry Estrada, why not
David
see if a David Morgan can stretch out as a starter? When you have
I would love David Morgan.
When you have electric stuff like that, it plays. And if you're a guy like David Morgan, you're like, hey man, I'm not going to be the 7th, 8th, 9 guy this year. Like, I'm not going to be, right? I'm not high leverage. I'm going to be a demon in the pen. But if I'm not a high leverage guy, I'm not about to get a crazy bag, right? Like, as like a mid-inning reliever guy, 6'7" guy, 6'7" guy. So that being said, David Morgan, who we're having on the show, absolute demon coming on next year. David Morgan goes, hey man, I have nasty shit. I have crazy movement on my stuff. Similar to low-key kind of like movement to his – that's not David Morgan. Similar movement to his pitches that King has, honestly, like nasty movement. He sees Michael King get a bag. I'd be like, hey man, I'm down to let it rip. Let's see what I have.
We'll ask Morgan. We'll ask Morgan on the show. But I love that idea, dude.
You know, it's like I think
he had a great year, dude.
Legs there. He had a great year.
Did he start it all in the minors or no?
I don't know if he did. He started 2 games this year as a piggyback, but
because it's fun. And honestly, guys, I needed this stream because now I'm starting to really the wheels are starting to go. And yeah, are we extremely optimistic? 100%. But guys, the more I'm thinking about it, I think they're going to be a pretty good freaking team in 2025. The Dodgers, obviously, back-to-back World Series. Congratulations to them. They're a very good team. Best team money can buy. We gotta be smart. And I think we got the right guy at the helm. And I know, everybody's gonna be like, he's never won you a World Series. You haven't even made a World Series with Preller, all that stuff. That's true. But who else would you rather have in? So let's think about last year, going into the season. Did we have a good farm system? No, we didn't.
Yeah, Leo,
what happened? Guys, we have so many, and I remember hearing this on the Gwynn and Chris show like last week. Our farm is full of guys who have insane potentials, and they're super young. So let's say a Cale Fountain type hits 20 home runs to start in San Antonio this year, just randomly, right? One of these guys, and he comes into his own. You trade it. We'll get like a Freddie Peralta back at the half. Like, you got to trust the process. It's going to be a fun season, man. I think Tatis is hitting his prime. Merrill's going to have an insane year. Are the Manny and Xander contracts good? No. Is the Yu Darvish contract good? No. Do some teams have bad contracts? Absolutely. Do I pray every morning that the Padres get bought by some absolute, like, racked out dude? Yes. but I like where we're at. The DSG is going to be here the entire time. We have one little $10 donation. Thank you. Should we go for Tatsuya Imai? I would love to go for Tatsuya Imai. Only issue, we have no money, it seems like.
I got a thought based off of kind of what you're saying. I know I sent you a message, wrap up in a few. If you really think about Xander Bogaerts and Manny Machado, obviously 6 years from now, horrible contracts. You're going to be paying these guys so late. Bad.
Yeah, bad.
But can you squeeze a little bit more out of them for the last 3 years, 4 years of their primes? Like Xander Bogaerts, when you look at his actual season last year, he started off horribly, but finished up playing pretty solid baseball, playing pretty solid ball. If you look at his underlying metrics, actually played pretty well. Fielding wise at shortstop, he played really well. So if you're really looking at it, you're like, hey, is he worth that much money for that many years? No. But am I feeling that bad? If I'm thinking about just this year, paying Xander Bogaerts $25 million to play shortstop, am I feeling that bad about it just as an individual season? Not that bad. Ha-Seong Kim got $20 million. Ha-Seong Kim got $20 million. He barely played last year.
So the issue with the Xander contract obviously is years, but I love that perspective because guys, who knows what's going to happen in 10 years?
That's what I'm saying. We got to stop taking everything by thinking about shit 10 years from now. We got to start taking this team year by year. Manny Machado last year, obviously 795 OPS, finished the season.
First half he was pretty decent.
His OPS, underlying OPS metrics, he was supposed to finish with an 850 OPS. He was top 95% in exit velo, hard hit percentage, barrel rate. The guy still has it. Now, don't get me wrong. Defensively, that dude was cheeks last year. He was cheeks.
He was bad.
Now, if he continues to play shitty third base, maybe you're like, hey, buddy, get that first baseman on.
I think he'll be a first baseman by the end of his contract.
Which is fine. But let's take it year by year. If you luck into a good 750, 760, 770 OPS season from Xander, you get an 820 OPS season from Manny. Merrill takes a step up back into 850, 870, and then you get what we've all dreamed of that we need is an MVP caliber Fernando Tatis season. Not just an MVP April, something that sustains the entire 7 months of the season. If you give us an MVP caliber Fernando Tatis season and you give us those three other cornerstones, having quality seasons, good seasons, I really think if you just tie up and get some good depth in the rotation, maybe trade Pivetta and get some young pitching, maybe, you have a great bullpen, stretch out David Morgan, pause, and try to see what you have. You know what I mean? Like, listen, the offense, Ramon Laureano, that outfield is a top outfield in baseball. It might be number one. Ramon Laureano, Tatis, and Merrill, right? Your infield's not looking that bad. Maybe you trade Cron, you get some depth. Maybe you go out and you get Vientos and you play him at first base. Who knows? Who knows? But there's a lot of potential with this team, man.
Let's talk. Hey, we're going to end it on this. Fernando Tatis Jr., key of everything. That's our guy. Toddy. I tweeted earlier today. I truly believe this guy still is a 40 home run a year guy. And I know people are going to say, he hasn't been the same since he got busted for PEDs. And to those people, one, this, and then two, if you watched the games last year, when Tatis was on mentally and physically, the dude was insane. April had like 13 home runs. September had like 11 home runs. In between, for 3 months, he had 3 home runs for like 3 months. So that's an anomaly. How does that happen? One, mental, probably some off the field stuff. We all have heard stories. Toddy likes to, he's had a couple, off the field stuff. And then that Mitch Keller injury. I believe in this dude, bro.
Matt.
I think and the worst thing is having untapped potential wasted. He is defensively insanity. He's insane defensively. He could hit 40 home runs a year. I would love a Tatis MVP season.
Matt, All I'm asking you to do right now is do me a favor, go on Baseball Savant and pull up Fernando Tatis Jr. I'm going to tell you exactly what Tatis needs to do and what we need to pray Steven Souza Jr. can unlock in this fella.
Dude.
This is all red except for one specific spot. Launch angle, sweet spot. Tatis was hitting balls 115 miles an hour, but he was hitting them on the ground. This offseason with Steven Souza, lift. He has so much power. Look at this Savant page, dude. It's all red. This guy is a top 5 baseball player, but that launch angle sweet spot needs to go from being 4. If that goes even from 4 to 50, he hits 40 home runs. He's that good. We have it. We have the guy. It is going to happen. I have nothing but faith in Fernando Tatis Jr. I have nothing but faith in the San Diego Padres. It's going to be a very fun offseason. There's a reason when people are like complaining about Fernando Tatis, and then you look at other fan bases and they're like, I'd kill my whole family for Fernando Tatis. Right? That's like literally what you see on Twitter. We have him. We have him under control. We got to appreciate him, and we got to root this fella on to have an MVP season, because if Fernando Tatis has a MVP season with a Vladimir Guerrero playoff run, we have a legit shot at winning a World Series. Hopefully Miguel Rojas isn't on the other dugout. That's the only thing you got to say.
Hey, guys, baseball is a crazy sport, and we got a fun team. We appreciate all 200 people in the chat right now. We appreciate everybody listening on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. If you could like this stream up, it means a lot. We'll be streaming all off season. We'll be streaming during the season. A lot of big things coming from the DSG, from the Padres. We hope all of you have an awesome rest of your night. If we stream before, Christmas, great. If not, happy holidays to everybody, and we'll talk soon. Peace.
Peace.